multiply, conquer fears, won't let them reside. Heartbeats pound as we take the dive, living now feels so alive. Heart steel veins glowing bright, fitness gone in the dead of night. Dating game, we got the sight, crushing finance, career out of sight. Man up now, we own it true, breaking change, just me and you. Success stories everywhere, living life beyond compare.
Oh, baby. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I do still enjoy it. And if you guys saw what happened on Saturday, was absurd. There's a specialty tournament that they're doing right now. It's the Four Nations. And so I'm trying to remember. I believe it's USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden.
Yeah,
And what was that?
I said, yeah, I think that's the four.
Yep. And so the USA and Canada came together for a match on Saturday, and for some reason, I guess Canadians decided to boo our national anthem, and that wasn't really taken well. And within the first 9 seconds of this game, there were 3 separate fights, racking up a total of 32 minutes of game time penalty, which in hockey is literally half the game. So these players had to sit out for almost half the game, or at least they were down players for a significant amount of time. Not down players, but like those players specifically couldn't play. Is what I'm saying. And it just it was crazy. Kevin, did you see it?
I saw the highlights of it. I didn't see the live event because, like you, I grew up in Florida. I lived in Pennsylvania for a while, and I did go to 2 Penguins games when I was there. And it is a very exciting sport. And those guys are tough as nails. And the way the Canadians acted during the national anthem is kind of a metaphor for what's going on around the world right now with the new administration and the things that are happening. And it really showed what happens when you poke the bear. You know, the term around here is fuck around and find out, right? So they showed their ass during their fans did showed their ass during the national anthem. And as soon as that puck hit the ice, gloves came off. And the fights that I saw, didn't like Canadians won any of the fights too. And then they ended up getting basically shut out in a hockey game 3-1. So was a good way to say, okay, yeah, you poke the bear and find out what happens. You were all shiny and cute until the shit gets real. And when the shit got real, you saw what happened. And I think a lot of these nations are going to see that, because we're using this as the topic, but it's not really just about hockey. It's about what's going on right now with the rest of the world, with a lot of people, a lot of countries, and the people within those countries reacting to government policies and politics that's going on. That's not really going to affect their daily lives, but they're so caught up in mainstream media and far left ideology that they're bringing it to even hockey games. And that's what's really this show's about, is look at how people are reacting. But then when you react that way, look what happens.
Right. No, it's a very good point. And that's another one that I wanted to bring up because recently they have banned the Associated Press from coming into the Oval Office to question the president. Now, I don't know if previous administrations even really allowed that often, but they allow it basically every day. And it because specifically they refuse to acknowledge what is now the Gulf of America as the Gulf of America. They will only call it the Gulf of Mexico. And it was crazy when you were looking with the press secretary when Caroline was talking the other day, and they essentially were indirectly complaining about it. She said to them, "Look, being able to come in to the Oval Office, it's it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's by invitation, and yet you are still here because we still allow you to have press passes. We do not want to not have you, but you're just not allowed into the Oval Office. It's as simple as that. Again, it's a privilege, not a right. And for some reason, it seems like everybody nowadays, or at least when I say everybody, I mean in general, people tend to think that they can get away with anything. Everything should go their way. And if they whine enough, then it will go their way. And the world is now finally seeing that is not how things work. Because this, as they always said, like, oh, the silent majority for Donald Trump. No, it's just people that don't deal with nonsense. And now that we're getting rid of nonsense, we're fine. I'm adjusting perfectly fine to this new world. Whereas a lot of other people seem to still be having a problem with it when there's not really a problem to be had. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it is. And, it's not even about adjusting to this world. This is the world I prefer, where government's doing their thing. They're actually doing what they're supposed to do. And the fact that people have had it for so long, at least since 2016, that, okay, if you do something I don't like, or you do something that doesn't fit or align with me, I'm just going to whine and bitch enough you're supposed to change your mind. And people are tired of that. And they're starting to step up and say, hey, whine all you want. You're not going to change my mind. When it comes to the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico, when that is something that is going to ruin your day, you really need to look inside yourself and realize that, hey, man, does it really matter? You can refer to it as whatever the fuck you want. But whatever it says on a map, who cares? I mean, really, the president of Mexico says she's going to sue Donald Trump for changing that name. The last time she tried to stand up to him on the tariffs, how long did she last there before she
Oh
was
my God,
folded?
she was the first one to fold.
Yeah. So, and you see it from both sides when I say Canada, Mexico, all the people around, that doesn't work anymore. And that's a good thing that doesn't work, because people need to learn. You can have your opinion. Other people can do things that you don't particularly agree with, and it's not going to change your life. And the fact that you've got fans booing a national anthem just because of administration shows how brainwashed normal citizens have become. Not even just in Canada and Mexico, in America as well. Because look at how the Democrats are acting now that Doge has come into the picture and they're finding all this stuff. All they want to do is stand up and scream, "We won't rest. He won't win." What are your interests in that? Because I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Constitutionalist. If you oppose someone holding the government accountable for especially the taxpayer dollars that they take from us, then I will never understand your side of the story. Ever.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting because it's like, yeah, I mean, it goes back to this making a statement to haters. Like, we made a statement and we stood our ground. Like, you guys disrespected us. And so, yeah, we're not just going to beat you up, but we're also going to beat you up on the scoreboard, and we're going to take this game. And it's the same thing with when we think like politics, as you're kind of mentioning here. Taking a stand is making a statement to haters. Like, everybody, again, I say everybody, that's not what I mean. A lot of people may try and tear down your belief system or may try and discourage you, but taking a stand not only gives you strength, but it also shuts these haters down. And that's really what we did. We're playing Canada this Thursday for the championship in this tournament. I wonder what type of energy they're going to come out with compared to before. And what's even more interesting is they're playing in Boston at
Yeah.
the Bruins Stadium, or the Bruins Arena, and knowing Boston, I think we may just boo them back and beat them down even further. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
it's
Bostonians
standing on business.
are really known for their cordialness, especially with, 6 or 7 pints of Sam Adams in their belly. And so it's going to be a taste of their own medicine. Honestly, I hope that it doesn't work out that way. I hope when the Canadian national anthem is played, everybody's respectful, and it
Basic
shows
respect.
how we in America or the United States cannot stoop, and that we're past all that, because we are past that in a lot of ways. In 2016 to 2020, the media, the left, I mean, they were always up in your face, screaming how things were not going right, tearing Donald Trump down, tearing his administration down. And a lot of people fell into that. And you could see it in comments on posts or videos or anything like that. However, you're not seeing that much anymore, even though he's only been president for about a month. You're starting to see that people are making a statement by not reacting. And that's the best way they could be. Just don't react when people are in your face trying to change your mind. You're not going to change theirs. Who cares? You make a statement by not reacting. And that's what I like about what's going on right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. That stoicism is incredibly, incredibly important. I mean, obviously, contextually, it's different. The best way to make a statement is what the US did and
Yeah.
just start these fights and then beat them at the game. But in most situations, yes, you make that statement by not reacting. Nothing infuriates. I mean, they teach you this in like elementary and middle school. Nothing infuriates a bully more than not reacting to them trying to trigger you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what a lot of people, and it happens on the right and the left. This show is not about dissing Canada. Some of our really good friends live in Canada, and it's not about making someone else look bad, but it's about bringing to light of how people react to certain things, and it's our responsibility, especially as men and men of now, to not react in the way that they want, because just like the bully wants you to react so that way they can feel better about themselves, if we don't react in the way the haters want us to react, that will shut them down faster than trying to prove our point or prove a point. And that happens with anything in life, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Because what is a hater? It's somebody who has an emotional charge towards you. Okay. Now let's translate this into relationships. That person that you are in a relationship with has that emotional charge towards you. When they are acting wrong or acting out of line and you start to pull away, what happens? They become more attracted. They want to engage more. You're on their mind more. It's the same type of idea. And yes, it can drive them crazy, but it just, if anything, it just, I'm trying to think the best way to explain the concept, but you understand what I'm saying. It's like that
Yeah.
push pull, and when it comes to like bullies, if they have too strong of like that reversal, if you ignoring them, they give up, they move on.
Yeah, they find the other weak person that they can get the reaction from.
And that's why, like in relationships too, it's like you
Mhm.
can do that, but you can't fucking do that forever. Like I know some guys take things very black and white. You can do that, and it can be a tactic to kind of put your relationship back on balance. But if you just are this stone cold, don't pay attention to the other half, then yeah, eventually it's going to be the same thing as the bully, and they'll go away. It's all about that emotional charged interaction between the two of you.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think males and females can be guilty of that, of trying to push their partner to react a certain way, almost to get them to react in an unfavorable way. So that way they can take that back to maybe their friends or family. Oh, I said this and he reacted like that. She said this and he reacted like that. And like I said, male and females are guilty of that, especially when you're younger. But if you learn to not react in the way that you can sense they're trying to react, it not only, like you said, brings them closer and makes them a little bit maybe more infatuated. It also shows them that you can't bring me to the level of intensity or anger that you really want them
It
to.
shows that you have more power. And that's what it's so interesting. Like that was the first time I ever thought about it because it really is that emotional charge, positive, negative energy. So if you go ahead and switch the energy on them and then they're realizing that the entire time you were the one who's been in control. Like they have been victim to you. So that's why they're either infatuated by you or, I mean, I guess in the same sense, infatuated to bully you. It's really interesting how that works. And then as soon as you switch it up and you stand firm on it, then people just give up. And it's just wild that us as a society had kind of like thrown that away because that's stoicism 101, and it's literally the best way to live life. It's the best way to get people to respect you. It's the best way to bring inner peace. It just works. There's nothing really else to say about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like we say, make a statement to haters. Like we say in the Men of Now, hate always comes from people beneath you, and that's why they're hating. Because you've got something that they want, or you're doing something that they wish they could. So that's where the hate comes from. Nobody from above you. A millionaire never hates on somebody trying to become a millionaire. They'll probably try to help them out. You might have that few instances where you might be in the same industry and that millionaire doesn't want you to take his business. That's a little bit different. But, a bodybuilder will never make fun of the fat guy that's trying to get in shape. The people that are going to make fun of them are the other fat people that aren't trying to get in shape. So to make themselves feel better, they want to make fun of the guy that's actually trying to put in the effort because they're beneath him. That's where hate comes from. And we kind of found that out, with our analogy with the hockey game. Hate came from beneath because the scoreboard at the end of the show, or the end of the game, I'm sorry, reflected that. Not only did they, I mean, it's hockey. So of course, they're going to get into fights. So that was a reaction to the booing during the national anthem. But you saw at the end of the game when the scoreboard read 3 USA, 1 Canadian, then you saw who was above and who wasn't beyond. That's more of a sports analogy, but you can use that in life too. When somebody's trying to get a reaction to you and bring you down to their level, then they're hating, and you make a statement by not reacting. There's a book out there called Models, and it talks about in that book a great analogy of when you think about the word responsible and you turn that into response able. So you're responsible for your reaction and you're responsible for your actions, but when you're response able. And once you start looking at the word responsible in that sense, it can make your stoicism come a lot easier.
It's a great point. It's a great point because I've been thinking about it a lot myself, like going into the deeper weeds. Because obviously when I first started doing dating coaching, it was in the phase of my life where I was still doing a ton of pickup and the plate spinning and all that type of stuff. And so I was really good at teaching those types of things. Now I've been in a relationship for quite a while and a very, very healthy, happy, long-term, stable relationship. Like this woman's going to be my wife. So with that comes new challenges. And that's what I've been trying to understand with all of this is like how to react to certain situations. Because I noticed that if I'm ever in a tumultuous time, like internally, and I'm not handling my emotions as well as I should, that trickles down. People learn from the behavior of others. So if I end up being somewhat emotionally rocky, Well, she's going to mimic that behavior. And then all of a sudden you have two emotionally rocky people, which then can compound and just keep growing. And that's why it's so important when things are going the wrong way or disagreements are occurring. If you know you're right, just let it go. Everybody realizes how stupid they are when you let them run their mouth enough.
Yeah, yeah. You're not responsible for proving to anyone that you're right. If you feel it in your side, and if it's right to you and it's working for you, and if they don't understand it, that's fine. Don't waste your time trying to explain it, unless they in a relationship. Yeah, you need to be able to articulate why you feel that you made this decision this way or that decision that way. But like you said, if both emotions are rocky and heightened, that's not, two wrongs don't make a right. And that's not going to be productive to a successful relationship. And, we can spin that off analogy to several things that are going on just in the world right now, politically, civilization, everything. However, in my business as financial coach, I get a lot of, well, my family, my friends, they don't understand why I don't go out to eat anymore. And they actually ridicule me because I have a plan that I'm sticking to, of paying off my credit cards, starting to tackle my debt. And I used to go out but now they're making fun of me. And so I can only tell them, well, this is your journey, not theirs. And
Yep.
that's a form of hate that they're putting on you. And basically they're jealous that you're making positive changes in your life financially to better your future. And a lot of people, if they don't understand it, don't feel like you have to explain it to them. And when I was going through my journey, I had let my family in on what I was doing, and very few people, because I didn't feel that I needed to justify, my actions and my changes that I was making in my life to anyone else but myself. So a lot of times when you let the hate bother you, because I've had some guys, I just can't take anymore, man. My friends want to go out, and I know I shouldn't because I'm paying this off, but I'm tired of them nagging me, so I'm going to go out. You don't let the hate change your journey or the path that you're on. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have the fortitude or the drive to stay on their path.
For sure. For sure. Kevin, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
I got drama in my life. Pretend like this is Dave Ramsey and you're Dave Ramsey and I'm calling into the show. So, Mr. Kevin, I got drama in my life. And it makes me think of this, like, don't like make a statement to the haters. And recently, this was back in Thanksgiving. My mom did something to me that was, and it was only with her words, that was incredibly manipulative and screwed up. And I finally blew a gasket at her, and I blew a gasket at the family for putting up with it. And I've talked to my sister on the side. She agrees with me. I've talked to her boyfriend on the side. He agrees with me. Like, my uncle's on my side. Like, everybody's on my side except for her and my dad. And she refused to talk to me. Again, manipulation of the situation, talking bad behind my back without even confronting the problem. And then she finally sent me an email, which I thought was strange. Like, why not text me or just call me? You're my mom. Sent me an email. And the email was incredibly indirect and belittling, like mean language. And here's a quote from it. I want your thoughts on this quote. It worries me that you have a tough time maintaining relationships, not only with family, but with friends as well. And Kevin, you know me. I have a very good job. I'm paid very well. Very, very blessed for that. I have great men in my life, such as yourself. So that just seems wrong. I don't really. Why would somebody do that? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
what the heck is going on with it? And that goes back to like, how do you stand up to haters? And it's interesting because when I used to live at home, at least for the brief period of time, years ago, like from like 25 to 26, like none of this behavior occurred. And then it was like out of sight, out of mind. Now, and I don't know if it's because of like old administration and how the society is working. She thinks that she can just like move however she wants. But isn't that a wild statement?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that statement is gaslighting 101.
That's
You know,
what I said. And
like,
I, for some reason, if for some reason I am the only one who's calling it out, nobody else seems to like see it.
yeah. I think I would say it's a projection for her to say something like that is, I feel bad for you because of you, in a sense.
Mhm.
It's a projection, and it's wanting to maintain a sense of control for some reason, to
Exactly.
make you feel bad about your relationship with her. When she's the one that is probably causing the issues, and subconsciously she knows that, but the only way that she knows to do it is to gaslight and to try to keep the upper hand. And it's especially prevalent when it comes from parents, especially if they're narcissistic parents, and I'm not saying your mom is,
Oh, she
but
totally is.
it's, have you ever heard the powder butt syndrome?
No, what is the powder butt syndrome?
Okay, this is when parents have it in their mind that, I powdered your butt when you were a baby, so you can never know more than me. You will never be able to have an opinion other than mine that be right. And that's the powder butt syndrome. I powdered your butt, so I will always be superior. And a lot of parents, even my own, had that for a long time. My dad, for a while, growing up until, I was, graduated college, had a career in the army, was doing very well. He still had the mindset of, well, if I didn't teach you this, there's no way you can know. And a lot of parents have that. But when your mom made a statement like that, she was trying to invoke a reaction to say, well, what are you talking about? I have great relationships. I've been with the same person. But hopefully you didn't react that way. But my take on that is, that was her way of trying to maintain control, to maintain an upper hand, even though she doesn't have it. And it's sad that you see that with parents of adults and successful adults. They still want that hierarchy of being in control and having the upper hand. And unfortunately, it's something you're never going to change, brother. That's not
Yeah.
something that, you can ever, it's like my uncle said one time when I was talking about my dad, and this wasn't very long ago when we were in Colorado. He was like, Kev, you're not going to change the stripes on a tiger. And, that kind of stuck with me, and it made me accept it more as well. And, not down on my dad. My dad tried really hard, but he wasn't the best father. Um, he was an angel, but I wasn't the best son at times as well. But when you look at it like that, it's not something you can change, especially about a relative. You can't change the stripes on the tiger. It helps you accept it more, and you can forgive them a lot faster. And it took me a long time to do that with my father, is finally forgiving him and realizing that everybody has their flaws. Now, that doesn't mean that you forgive them and everything is okay. You can forgive, but don't forget. So that way you don't allow manipulation, gaslighting, virtue signaling that they might do in the future. Just lets you recognize it, know what that's happening, and then move on with your life.
Right.
And it's a lot of people don't understand that, because they're like, well, that's your parents. You only have one mother. You only have one father. My dad only has one son. My mom only has one son. That doesn't mean they
Exactly.
can act like they do or act any way they please, and it's supposed to be okay. So that's my take from that was, yeah, she's trying to gaslight you. It's a projection to invoke a reaction. And I feel sorry for her because there's probably a little cry for help in a statement like that, because
But
she wants to be the nurturer.
that again, if she was asking for help, she's a fucking adult. She can deal with it. I find it very interesting because my dad has tried to be like the pass through, and so he's taking the brunt of it. I feel almost like my mom's using him as a punching bag because I didn't back down on stuff, and so now he's going to therapy. Like it's almost like I remember when, because my mom definitely is narcissistic, and so that's cluster B, which would be similar to bipolar, and one of those control mechanisms, essentially like blaming you for not solving the problem, or that blaming you for the fact that the problem exists. And so I think she's blaming my father right now for the fact that this problem and tumultuousness exists in our relationship. But it's like, if I don't have an issue with anybody else in the family except you, then the common denominator is you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, but that's
Yeah.
what I think it's interesting when you understand these personality types, then you can better know how to adjust and to stand up appropriately, how to make that appropriate statement. For some people, if you don't like wean them off of attention, you just you can't do it anymore, and you just like ghost cold turkey. Some people are crazy. So it's just really important to like understand the different personality types and know exactly how to move the situation, move the waters in the right way.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it is tough when it comes to family, especially immediate family. And that's, because I mean, I don't know many people out there that don't love their parents, don't value their parents, even if they're not perfect, because nobody is. But
Dude, I love my parents, but I fucking hate my parents.
yeah.
So
Well,
that dichotomy can exist, and it's okay. It's reality. I wish, I wish they were a little bit different in certain ways, but I still love them for everything that they've done. I can never break that love, but through working through things, yes, that hate can go away. It's just it's up to that hate going away, but that love will never go.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you love them, but you don't have to like them. You know, I mean
Yep.
that
Mhm.
I heard that statement a long time ago, and I can't even remember where it came up. But yeah, of course, the love is there. Like if your dad called you tomorrow and needed something that you could help with, you would probably be
I
the
would
first one.
drive. I would
You know,
drive right down to South
yeah,
Carolina. I'd be there.
same here. But you don't. That's just the love, and that's your duty as a son to do that. But you don't have to like them,
Yeah.
and you don't have to like their actions, and you're not wrong for not doing that. There's just like, with our analogy we're talking about with the making a statement to the haters is, us as men, we have a duty to help when we can. We don't have to help because it's a given that we're obligated to do it. But when hate's bestowed upon us, how we react and how we move on from that is what's the most important. And we showed that in the hockey game. We're showing that as a society now, which I am so proud of. A lot of Americans, even the ones that were grandstanding from 2016 to 2020, and Orange Man bad, Orange Man blah blah. Now, especially young people are starting to kind of circle around to say, I don't have to like everything you do, but I can accept it. And if it doesn't affect my everyday life, I am not going to let it rule my actions and how I work. It's not going to give me anxiety over
You know what
something.
was crazy with that whole thing that you just said right there? In the first round, this is back in 2016 when Trump first got elected. Having conversations with people that were like so anti-Trump, I said, I hate Hill Dog, and I also don't love Trump, but I have to pick the better of two evils. The next election, it was the same thing. I hate Joe Biden. Like, I don't see this going anywhere. And Trump's shown, internationally and financially, we're better off as a country. So I got to pick the lesser of two evils. America wanted to go the other way every single time. And then with this last one, well, Trump's going to make the most sense with how much Biden screwed up some things. Yeah, but I don't like the way he says stuff. That's like every time I have that argument with people, like finally I'm able to. Like I'm able to have that discussion. I wasn't able to have that discussion for a very long time with people because every time I would say it's just picking the lesser of two evils. They didn't get it. It just like didn't compute for some reason. But people are finally waking up and like realizing what's been said all along.
Yeah. And, if you look back, I mean, every election that's what you're doing is you're picking the lesser of two evils. Here lately, as I've grown up as an adult, politicians, I find some that I can respect more than others, but I haven't found any of them that I would like to go have dinner with.
JD Vance. Vance.
He's very
I'm
smart.
calling it right now. I've called it before. Call it again. JD Vance is going to be the next president of the United States. Okay, go ahead.
I think that I think he'll be the front runner unless Don Jr. steps up. If Don Jr. gets in the race, of course, his dad's going to endorse him. However, it's still going to come down to a primary and a vote, unlike the Democrats like to do it. They just like to appoint somebody to run. But if you look at it in that sense, candidly, and not falling into the hate of one side or the other, look at all the politicians, even down to your mayors of your town, the lesser of two evils. Which one do you think is going to benefit? I don't care about me. I take care of me. I don't vote for a governor, a mayor, a senator of what it's going to do for me, what it might do for the state, and what that position is beholden. And when it comes to the president of the United States, you want to vote for the person that you think is going to be better for the United States, not for Kevin Lewis, not for Alex Husband. If you look at it like in that sense, it might make a little bit more sense to even change parties if you think you've been a certain way your whole life or your adult life. But now you see this person will be better for the country as president, not better for myself personally. If you take yourself out of the equation and just worry about the big picture, the hate doesn't matter at that point. Then you can start making more logical decisions.
Right. No, and it's interesting because a lot of people, they don't want to make decisions like that. Like I know for a fact, my girlfriend, she actually did vote for Kamala. She voted for Kamala because I know that she would feel embarrassed because her family would go to the Kamala pep rallies and whatnot. They would do all that, and her brother was like making calls on the weekends as volunteer work to try and get people to vote for her. So she felt a sense of guilt. Don't feel a sense of guilt. Like that's standing up to haters. Do what you believe in. Do your own research on things and make your own decisions. And don't be afraid of the fact that, okay, maybe if I go a different direction, I may lose some friends. That's reality. That's growing up.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. It's weird. And I love but hate it at the same time. To be like, I love to be able to see the world for what it really is now, and I'm sure I'm only going to get clearer vision as time goes on. But yeah, there is pain along the way. There's change along the way. But do you want to live your true self, or do you want to live somebody else's self-defined self for you?
Yeah, or you're doing this because you want to fit in with your circle. If you lose friends because of the way you want to vote for political reasons, that's a they problem. That's not a you problem. I've got friends that voted for Kamala Harris because they saw something in her that I didn't. It's not my job to try to change them. And we can even bring that back to this analogy of what started this conversation of the reaction that the Canadians had to our national anthem because of tariffs that are put on imports coming from Canada. Does that affect anyone sitting in that stands? No, That does not affect them unless they're a business owner that imports stuff into the United States. So I would say probably 95% of that, the stuff that they're booing for and they're so mad at Americans right now and so mad at Donald Trump will not affect their daily life. But to feel like they're a part of the crew and they're part of the movement or mass, they felt the need to boo our national anthem. So that shows you that wanting to fit in or needing that camaraderie is more important to a lot of people now than it is to have individual thoughts, think for yourself, and not fucking care what everybody else thinks, and to not fucking care about how they think and not fucking care about changing their mind. You can have your own beliefs, you can have yours. That's not going to affect my daily life. It shouldn't affect our friendship. It damn sure shouldn't affect family. But we saw it in the United States a lot. You know, people weren't having Thanksgiving because, you know, one side of the family felt this way about politics and the other one. So they couldn't even come together to celebrate a holiday. How fucked up is that? Where is the mindset that makes sense for anybody?
Yeah, where's the critical thinking? And that's kind of what I've just, it's been mind-blowing to see critical thinking going way, way, way down. And I was reading about like studies too that further use of things like chat GPT is actually affecting those critical thinking skills. That people like, they just rely on it for everything. So they can't even process a thought themselves. Like it's going that direction, which is
Yeah.
very scary to think about. Like I'm always outspoken and I stand by my beliefs. And I have to say that like sense of self actualization is it's liberating. I mean, hell, by doing so, like with when I was with the ex that caused all the problems, like I gained like 40 pounds during that relationship. In addition to that, um, uh, sorry, my battery thing came on.
That's all right.
Crap. I gotta plug this in a second. Losing my train of thought here. Um, and she wouldn't let me because I told her that I wanted to do some of this like dating coaching stuff and I was interested in this space. And she wouldn't let me do it. And so then once I actually came to that self actualization, I moved forward like after that relationship. I did it anyways. And there's been nothing more fulfilling than doing things like this, working with guys one on one, and just seeing other people win in life and just live the life that they want to live. And that's what's so strange is that I don't know if I'm just realizing it for the first time, or if people are just losing that sense of self, or if they've given up, or like the majority of people have given up on actually going on that journey. Because yes, that journey is hard, but on being on the other side it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, you know, sometimes it does take an epiphany or an awakening, you know, but like you said, you know, when you're in a relationship that, you know, especially you should be able to express your goals or your aspirations of wanting to do something. But if it's different from what you've been doing and they're comfortable with it, they ridicule it or they uh, basically try to tear you down. That's when that epiphany can happen. And you start, especially us as men, you know, show results, not ideas, and just do it. And then if you have to ask for forgiveness, that's one thing, but don't have to ask for permission till you don't even try. And I was, you know, my marriage was kind of like that. You know, we had gotten so comfortable. She had a job at the VA Medical Center as an X-ray tech. I was a NCO in the Army. We had a decent income. I mean, money wasn't a problem. However, I saw things that I wanted to do, like even switching jobs in the military. Anything that I brought up that would be a change from the state we were in, she would, no, I don't want you to do that. I wanted to change jobs. No, I don't want you to do that. I wanted to get out and go work overseas, making a tremendous amount of money. No, I don't want you to do that. You'll lose your retirement. Which, okay, if you're making $300,000 a year, that's a lot better than $3,000 a month after 20 years in the Army. But I hadn't had my epiphany yet. My thing was, okay, well, if she doesn't want me to do it, we'll just stick along. We ended up getting divorced anyways. But when we got a divorce, you know what? I switched my job in the Army. I left active duty for one, but I switched the job that I wanted to do. Haven't been more happier in the reserves. I went overseas and contracted, got myself debt free, and now I'm on the track to being a net worth millionaire. But if we would have stayed together, I probably would have never been able to have that epiphany and start living for myself and start doing the things that I thought and believed were right for my life and living for someone else. And that's where a lot of men get stuck, especially ones in a relationship. Marriage is a beautiful thing. However, it's got to be one that you can still have your own beliefs, have your own life, and be able to make your own decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really is man. I've taken this conversation all over the place. But that was something too that when it comes to even just like a breakup, not what's the best thing you can do after a breakup? Win, right? That's why we tell guys to go ahead and like hit the gym and refocus yourself and like do the things that maybe you had been putting off.
Mhm. Yeah.
Best way to get over it. People say, as kind of a joke, but then some people take it seriously. The best way to get over somebody is under somebody else. No, the
Yeah.
best way to get over a relationship is by becoming a better version of yourself so that your next relationship ends up being better than one you've ever had before.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And yeah, I think for women too, that's probably more true of the best way to get over a man is to get under a new one. That's fine. Do that. Best way for a man is to move on immediately and start focusing on yourself and start winning, but win for the right reasons. Don't win just to say, haha, in her face, look what I've done without you. Do it for yourself. Once that relationship's over, even if it's a divorce from somebody you've been married to for 15 years and you feel like your whole life has been disrupted and flipped upside down, do it for yourself. Do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for basically revenge. Do it for yourself and do it for the right reasons. And then that's when it's really liberating. And that's when you have your goal and you found your purpose or you've created your purpose. Because a lot of men think that the best thing I can do, okay, we just broke up. I need to go date 4 other women and I need to put all over my Instagram all these chicks that I'm with and this harem I've got, and she'll see that, or she'll see my Facebook, and that's not gonna do anything to her. She doesn't care because she's already probably had 3 or 4 more dicks in her than you've had vaginas in your life. The best thing you can do is go silent and accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish while you were together, but couldn't, or the things that you want to make your life better. And that's the thing that will make her say, fuck, I lost a good one.
Yeah, I have to say, and although I don't love everything that Rollo has put out there, Rollo Tomasi has one of his rules, one of the iron rules of Tomasi. When you take the garbage out to the curb, don't go and pick it back up. So the entire neighborhood is going to see how gross it looks, and that's the truth. So when something like this happens, any type of breakup, whatever else, hey, it's for a reason. It's your opportunity. It's your opportunity to reach the next level of whatever you want to get to.
Mm.
So, I mean, this whole thing is very, very interesting. I know we jumped around on a lot of different topics, and sure, I'm sharing some personal stuff about my life as well. But I do have to say, if that type of stuff resonates with you guys, obviously the like, comment, subscribe, that always helps the channel itself. But if you want to join a community and join our community where we can have these raw conversations, where we can actually all level up together, definitely go ahead and hit that right there. So menofnow.us/enroll. We got some exciting things coming up. I'll let Kevin speak on his upcoming thing in a moment. But yeah, like if this type of stuff resonates with you and you really want to get to that next stage in life, Doesn't matter if you resonate with me, you resonate with Kevin, you resonate with Josh, or you end up resonating with some of the other people that we're going to be having on throughout the year here. If something is resonating with you, it's resonating for a reason, and it's important to follow that. Gut feelings are important. Back when I dealt with all my crap, I didn't follow my gut feeling, and I let myself get walked over. I didn't deal with a hater the right way, and it wasn't until dealing with that hater that I was able to like level up and start this coaching business and do all of this, and just everything in my life changed, and it changed in the best way possible. It was a weird transformative experience. No journey is ever easy, but when you go through it and when you really want to go through it, damn, each level is a hell of a lot of fun. I have to say that. But Kevin, you got something coming up, right? You got
Yeah.
this webinar or something. Do you want to
Yeah,
tell
well,
people about it?
it's a series we're all doing. Do have a webinar coming up. We do have the Thrive in 25 series where we're bringing on very special guests, people from all the way from coaches to the one we're going to have on pretty soon is basically a celebrity that we all look up to.
He was on Steve Harvey.
Yeah, he's on Steve Harvey and a couple other, talk shows. So we've got a lot of good things coming up. But what, like you said, yeah, we get personal on here. I'm all about transparency. I don't mind talking about the mistakes that I've made in the past. And so hopefully people going forward can learn from my mistakes and not make them themselves. So I'm all about it. Not everybody is. So behind our paywall and with the group, with the meetings we do sometimes, especially on one-on-ones. I mean, we get to the root of the problem, by asking questions, coming up with answers, and solving problems. And that's what it's all about. As men, and like you said earlier, your dad's in therapy. I cringed when you said that because I'm sure your mom had something to do with that.
Everything to do with it.
So, and there's a really great book out of the name. I will find it and put it in the comments if you see this and want to see. But men or women are very different, especially when it comes to therapy. Talking about your problems constantly and always reliving them for men only makes things worse. For women, for some reason, it makes everything better because I can talk about it and I can cry. And that's great that you have that dynamics, but that's why we as men, once we solve a problem or we make a mistake, we can always glance back, but we don't live in the past and we don't keep our anxieties all up in our frontal lobe to keep our mood, our state of mind in a rut. We're all about moving forward. So we can bring it up. We can find roots of the problem, but then we're going to fucking kill that problem and we're going to move on. And that's what I love about being part of a tribe like Men of Now. So check it out. Yeah, we are open for enrollment right now. Just because you do that doesn't mean we're going to automatically make you a member. We want to talk with you. We want to find out your goals, make sure that we're the right fraternity that can help you. And if we're not, we're allies with a bunch of other ones. We can point you in the right direction. But as you said, we do have a webinar series come up. My first one is going to be on all the many ways you can invest in 2025. And it's going to be, since we're starting this, it's going to be from the very basics. So if you already know the difference between stocks, bonds, ETFs, the difference between a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, that might not help you. I still want you to tune in. I still want you to check it out, maybe ask some questions, but that's where we're going to start off. It's going to be announced in the next week or so when we're going to have that webinar. And I hope you attend. And then we're going to start doing one every month, myself, Alex, and Josh, for the rest of 2025 to start building a library for not only our members, but our viewers as well, to start seeing something other than our live shows. And I'm super excited about it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And with the webinar, so that is not open to the public. So either we'll have to be a member or we'll figure out pricing structure and whatnot. So it makes sense. And maybe that could be a good way for you to dip your toes in to see kind of the stuff we talk about behind the scenes, because it is good. Even when you were talking about that, some of the basics of financials, sometimes it's good to even just brush up on it, because then you may not have realized that you've got your money sitting in multiple different places, but if you just reconfigure it, you could be earning more. And so that's what's really, really exciting about this. And like, I just can't wait. I can't wait to see everything that we have, especially along with the Thrive in 25 series. Thomas, the professional wingman. Oh, dude, the guy's fantastic. I've worked with him plenty of times before. He's very much into that mindfulness, and like that's, embracing and understanding that sense of self, and that's really allowed him to completely skyrocket. And I really hope that the viewers are, and the members as well, are getting a lot of extra out of that. You got any final thoughts on this tonight?
Well, when it comes to what the show started, I mean, you talked about how we went all over the place, and there's only so much we could talk about the hockey game, but it gave us a topic that we could elaborate on, that make a statement to the haters. Remember,
Yeah.
hate comes from the bottom. Make a statement by your reaction, and then move on. It's our job as men to maintain that composure, to not allow hate to win. Because when you get hate, like in the beginning of the game, they booed our national anthem, then they got their asses kicked in the first 9 seconds of the game, and then they lost the game. That's the analogy for the whole thing. You hate on me in the beginning, let's see who wins in the fucking end by our actions. Because punches and kicks thrown aside, well, I don't think they kicked. Punches and kicks thrown aside, they hated in the beginning, they were high and mighty, but in the end, who walked away the victor? And that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just understand your enemy. Really, you can reference Art of War, which we've talked about before, but I won't even dive into that again. But know your enemy so that you can be able to adjust accordingly. And sometimes making a statement could mean saying nothing at all.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. Have a good one.